Looks like it's raining. The drum I have in my hand is called the talking drum. The talking drum hails from the West African kingdom known as the Yoruba people, which many, and this is the West African kingdom where, you know, as history tells us, majority of our ancestors that crossed over the Atlantic came from the west coast of Africa. This was one of the drums that frightened this is one of the drums that frightened those who came and could not understand what is going on. The talking drum, in reality, has a great message. For every one of us here, we are drummers. We are drummers. Why do I say that? Because there is a beat within you right now, right? There is a beat within each one. It is said in the Yoruba tradition that, and this Yoruba tradition tale, like the Bible story of creation, and like many other stories around the world, is something they did not receive from nobody, but were inspired. Meaning, it is told that during the creation of man, human beings, when God said, "Let us make man in our image and likeness," that there were drummers around playing to keep God and the angelic host company. And after man was made, God saw that he was able to, the work could move better with the beats, the drum, the rhythm. And he decided, I'm going to keep that beat alive. And he gave us a heartbeat. This drum, like every other drum, is not like every other drum. It's quite peculiar in that sense because it speaks. Every tradition in West Africa in particular has a special toning of the drum to mimic their language, their bitonal language. And that is why it is mostly played. You rarely see a talking drummer play the talking drum on the left. It is on the right hand, meaning on this side, carrying it this way. It is played close to the heartbeat. Because that's the way you can feel the rhythm. Your thoughts can be transmitted more easily. It's a drum that cannot be, I cannot teach anyone. You have to inherit it. Now, in that sense, the drummers in Africa are really the high priest of the gathering. Without the drum, there cannot be any celebration. Seriously. This is not, there cannot be true celebration. The drum invokes many things, many feelings. The drum is a messenger in its own right. The drum is a storyteller in its own right. So just like the story of creation I told you, how we receive it and how we really believe it. And so we keep, when a child is born, from cradle to grave till we go home. The drum celebrates all aspects of our life. When a child is born, the drummer goes out and announces to the community. And he will speak. He or she in particular, would not speak with the mouth, but would play the rhythm that tells everyone that a new baby has been born, either female or male. It will be played in a particular pattern, and people will understand. Or if the enemies were coming, it will be played, and you won't understand. Or if they just wanted to transmit a message. And so the drum represents the first true cell phone we had. Because it could go distance. When Africans wanted to transmit messages, the drummers would go on the top of a hill and they would play the bigger drums. And people could, the next village afar would pick up with the vibration and would play and would transmit the vibration. And so it went far, playing a rhythm that you would not, you think people were just playing, but they were transmitting coded messages. Just like we encrypt now in the internet, I'm sure. Daniel, right? Knows David? David knows something about encryption in the internet. How when you want to disguise your message. And so, the drum has such great significance in the life of our people. It is truly a message of joy and celebration in spite of. That's why in homegoings, in funerals, no, the drummers have to be there. In marriage ceremonies, the drummers have to be there. They begin it, they end it. Why is it then so sacred? Let's bring it a little bit home. One thing we must understand that the true drum is made from several elements. It's made from, first of all, the plant that God gave us, meaning a tree has to be hacked down. Before a drum is made, in those days, libation will be poured and we would say prayer would be made to that tree. That we want to use this tree, Lord, bless this tree, so that this tree would produce a good sounding drum for your glory. And then they would cut the tree. There were specific trees that you had to use. They would take it, shape it, as this is shaped in an hourglass. Then you know what? Think about these membranes, the heads. These days we use synthetic, artificial materials. But in those days, and still now in Africa, you would have to sacrifice an animal. A goat, a cow, something that's, an antelope or deer. But they would pray before they sacrificed that animal because they were about to dedicate to make something, an instrument that would echo the heart of God, the heartbeat, life, rhythm. Wrapped up, made by special craftsmen. Drumming was not something we take just, everybody wants to bang and say, beat the drum. No, you play the drum. You caress the drum, you respect the drum, and the drum respects you. And so, you can imagine how drummers were lifted up in communities. Drummers had to be by the side of the king in the courts. Because when the king needed the message or anything that he needed to transmit to the world or to his people, the drummer was the person who would receive that and go and just play, because he would be playing from the language, the knowledge, this sacred knowledge that sometimes is being missing today. I feel so opportune to have been able to played drums in my church back home in Africa since I was 4 years old. I was so admiring my young man here. And let's give a hand to our beloved young brother. The drums help stabilize us, meaning, just like everything, rhythm. Life has a rhythm flow, right? There's night, there's day, there's winter, there's summer, there's autumn, and it moves in season, in rhythm, the ebbs and flows of life. And so, the drummer must be somebody who is stable, who understands rhythm, movement. There's so much meaning that comes out of drum and drumming. And I just want to encourage the young folks. You know, we have a small mission ministry here called Drums Not Drugs. I can imagine if we can give every child a drum and have a mentor, a drummer in every corner, instead of going around and doing these things that really don't lead nowhere. Drums facilitate poetry, it facilitates drama, it facilitates dancing, good dancing, movement, and all in praise of God. Imagine such a community where we are all drummers and understand that drumming is really rhythm, keeping the rhythm of life, of relationship, of conversation, conversing with the elements, the sacredness of the plant, the animals. And then when you play it not just for yourself, you play it so that somebody may move, somebody may also partake of that rhythm. So maybe we can try just a little thing. Maybe just a little thing. Is it possible? Is it possible? Just a very short little thing. Just help me. Go do. There you go.
Drum was used for communication, a musical instrument, for religious services, for dance, just as a method of communicating. And I say this, I want to encourage all of you to purchase a drum. Amen?
Amen.
There's no telling what they've been doing, but we want them to purchase a drum so their soul can be fed. And in turn, when they perfect that skill, that skill will in turn feed us. Amen? I want you to hold on to your passport as we